In today's video, I am going to explain anatomy of diaphragm. I am going to explain its origin, insertion, and function. Let me explain its origin. Origin of diaphragm is just wide. It's very wide structure. Let me start from this part. This is xiphoid process. Xiphoid process is the most inferior part of sternum, right? Diaphragm attaches just posterior to xiphoid process. Then, what is this part? Actually, there is a costal cartilage here. Diaphragm attaches to inner surface of rib cage. That is about 7th through 12th rib. It's basically on lower part of rib cage. Okay, let's keep going. And that attaches to lumbar spines. You see this part? This part is called crura. Crura means leg. This is leg of diaphragm. So this crura kind of elongates down to lumbar spines. Most of anatomy books say diaphragm attaches to L1 through L3. Of course, there is variation. Some people's crura can reach to L4 or maybe even down to L5. That depends on people. Anatomy varies depends on people. But usually, in average people, that's L1 through L3. Additionally, what is between spines? What is between lumbar spines? There are intervertebral discs. Indeed, this muscle also attaches to vertebral disc. Let's say intervertebral discs. Knowing this anatomy sounds very important. Diaphragm attaches to discs. So what happens if diaphragm gets tight? That may aggravate biomechanics of lumbar spines and intervertebral discs. Maybe this tightness may affect for lumbar mobility. Sounds very important, right? Then let's keep going. There are many other origins. Let's say there are kind of a two-arch structure on inferior part of diaphragm. It's a little bit hard to see. Let me change angle. This is better. This is inferior view. There are kind of arch structure on inferior part. This yellow part is called medial arcuate ligament. Medial arcuate ligament. This part has connection with psoas. See, this is psoas. You can say there is myofascial connection between psoas and diaphragm because diaphragm attaches to this connective tissue. Very important. If psoas gets tight, this tightness may affect for diaphragm. Vice versa, if diaphragm gets tight, this tightness may affect for psoas. This relationship is very important. Then what about this part, this blue part? This is lateral arcuate ligament. This part has connection with quadratus lumborum. Let's say QL. Quadratus lumborum is here. As I said in the psoas part, there's myofascial connection between quadratus lumborum and diaphragm. So you can imagine there's correlation between quadratus lumborum and diaphragm. Thus, these two core muscles are so important for diaphragm. These two core muscles. There's myofascial connection from core muscle to diaphragm. Thus, you can say diaphragm is not only for breathing muscle. So this muscle can affect for core stability. Knowing anatomy is very important. Knowing origin and insertion are very important. Then one more structure I want to explain is there's connective tissue just in front of spines. This tissue is called anterior longitudinal ligament. Anterior longitudinal ligament. This ligament goes all the way up to cervical spines. Diaphragm attaches to this ligament. Again, this ligament is related to spines. What if diaphragm gets tight? Maybe this tightness aggravates for spine mechanics, spine movements. See, again, diaphragm, very important for core stability, core movement, and spine movement. This is not only for breathing muscles, but also for core muscles. Well, this is origin. Let me review. Xiphoid process, 7th rib through 12th rib. This is crura. Let me change picture. Medial arcuate ligament, relationship with psoas. Lateral arcuate ligament, relationship with quadratus lumborum. Then anterior longitudinal ligament. Oh, wait a minute, there are connection with lumbar spines and intervertebral discs. Oh my gosh, there are so many origins. Then what about insertion? Where is insertion of diaphragm? That is about here. This is where insertion is. Most of muscles attachment are bones, right? Like crura of diaphragm, they attach to bones. However, in diaphragm, insertion is a little bit different. This inserts to tendon, that inserts to connective tissue. This place is called central tendon. Central tendon, this very thin, wide structure. That's it. Insertion, central tendon. So let me explain the function of diaphragm. Okay, what is the main function of diaphragm? That is, of course, breathing. As diaphragm contracts, that brings diaphragm lower down. Then what's going to happen for our lungs, for our breathing system? We take air in to diaphragm. Then as diaphragm goes up, air goes out. This is the primary breathing muscle, correct? Then there's a lot more function. As I showed you before, there are a lot of attachments of diaphragm that attach to lumbar spines, myofascial connection for psoas, quadratus lumborum, there is connection to intervertebral disc. Then there are a lot of things to do for core, like that maintains abdominal pressure. Then that may be important for lumbar biomechanics, spine biomechanics, that is important for myofascial connection, that may be important for rib cage stability. Very important muscle for both abdominal area and thoracic area, thorax area. Diaphragm is not only for primary breathing muscle. You can say this is like an intersection between core area and thorax area. Oh my gosh, if I talk about diaphragm for every single detail, one video is not enough. I can film like 3 or 4 videos. But I want to focus on origin and insertion, function, and a little bit about connection. Then what kind of a connection is there? There are few holes in diaphragm. That means some tissues penetrate diaphragm. What kind of tissue is there? Well, this hole is for esophagus. Yep, esophagus penetrates this hole. By the way, this hole is called hiatus. Hiatus. Esophagus penetrates this hiatus. That's very common thing that esophagus kind of herniated this hiatus. That thing is called hiatal hernia. Very common. Anyway, this is hiatus for esophagus. There are 2 more tissues penetrating diaphragm. What is this part? This is abdominal aorta. Abdominal aorta. Yep, this hiatus is for abdominal aorta. One more thing. This is inferior vena cava. Inferior vena cava. This hiatus is for inferior vena cava. There are 3 hiatus. Hiatus for esophagus, abdominal aorta, and inferior vena cava. Then, what can I say? Diaphragm is important for digestive system and circulatory system. Oh my gosh, this is not only for breathing muscle. This is important for digestive system, circulatory system, and it's important for core stability, spine movement, thorax stability, on and on and on. Diaphragm, frigging important muscle. Unfortunately, I only can explain origin, insertion, and function. Very basic things, yet very important place. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. See you next video.